Shalom Barak. Just a moment. Let's make sure that TikTok comes in. Says we are streaming. I want to make sure that the other screen opens though, so that we have simultaneous cast. That's the idea. Now I had it working earlier. Go figure. Mess up a good thing. That's not what I'm looking for. Well, go figure. Well, either way, thank you all for stopping through. Today is going to be Q&A day. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom Barak. Peace and blessings to all who join in. I'm going to keep working at this and see if I can figure out how to make sure that I can see comments from TikTok as well as YouTube. I'm going to turn on some music while we get all this worked out. Let's see what's going on. Oh, there we go. It's telling me the live monitor is on. I just don't have access to it right now. I think we might have something going now. The screen just redirected. There we go. We get together at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to speak on entrepreneurship and service in your community. We normally speak on 10 special interest groups. In between the breaks, we have Q&A. Today is one of those Q&A days. And now we're waiting for the equipment to catch up with itself. Let's see, why do I have two tabs open? It might be what's slowing up the process. Okay. Close one of them because it's not properly loading anyway. There we go. Now we're back to the YouTube tab. I want to make sure that everything is still square there. slight technical difficulties. And not usually how things go. We've been reviewing different approaches for organic marketing strategies from an entrepreneur's perspective. So today's Q&A, we're also considering the 10 different special interest groups. The main idea, though, is to approach it from what are your interests? And do you see the perspective from the different special interest groups? Is there something that's missing that you'd like to speak on? All right, finally got a screen. Master Steven. Now this particular screen, it tells me who's in the place and when some comments come in on the TikTok side. So I don't get to see my face here. I'm going to be checking the tabs back and forth. We found a way to do multi-streaming from one device. So I'll be giving everybody progress reports as we go along. English extremities. Shalom Aparati. All right, so I'm going to switch back real quick, make sure YouTube is doing what it's supposed to. I know it's asking me to prompt Twitch. We don't want to prompt Twitch. Just to give you all an idea of what's going on. As the name says, I am Angelic Discipline. As an artist, my name is 3PROJH. That's 3P Roge. I'm the sole proprietor of a label called Highest Heights Studio. Of the special interest groups of the 10, that would be the first one that I will speak on because I have direct control and access to what goes on with that particular group. Because it's more than just me. Other artists are welcome to come along in as an umbrella attempt. However, I'm out here trying to show other people how to start their individual, independent, and interdependent endeavors. So there's more than several. Like I said, there's 10 that I've identified as special interest groups that we focus on. Because there's a whole other approach to getting your message out there that they, the big they, don't necessarily tell people that it even exists. You can find out about things to do for your convenience. We've got one in YouTube world. Shalom Barak to you. Peace and blessings. Step over here to TikTok land real quick, see if there's any comments. So yeah, out of those 10 special interest groups, we have spoken back and forth on them. And as I stated earlier, today this would be the time to speak on any questions you have concerning those particular groups or how you can apply it to your own interests. You know, whenever I do throw a party, there's always a name for that party. Today's name is What's Your Problem? Ever have somebody ask you, What's your problem? I've got one. Hit a couple buttons and see if anything changes up. Okay, now I see where the chat uh, box is for YouTube, so you can leave things alone. Don't be pushing all the buttons. What's your problem? See, I was doing some math. Let's see, what did I come up with? Yeah, 336 plus 12 times 28. Multiply 12 times 28, you get 336. What does that have to do with anything? We're accustomed to counting 365 days in a year. So my problem is, how do you get to 365 from 336? They even say, well, there's 13 months instead of 12. That leaves one shy as far as the amount of days. So if we say that all of the spans of time have an agreed upon 28 days, what about all those extra days? Well, so-and-so came to rule and they changed the name of the span of days, and then they added this and took away that, and there was a time when there were 10. So upon hearing all of this information, I went and looked some things up. Now that's back when I was younger, when I visited the encyclopedias. And yeah, it told a whole bunch of stuff about the sun cycles and the lunar cycles and this and that happens, and then there's a leap year, and yeah. And then Julius Caesar wanted to name a month, and Augustus wanted to name a month, and January is really Enero, and Febrero is this and that, and March is this and that, and they speak upon the Ides of March. And then really the first of spring is the first of the year, because it's marked by some sun positions and moon positions. Okay, so what's the original calendar then? How are we supposed to be keeping time? What's going on? Because see, my problem is 336. And there's 29 left over to get to 365. And so I have no problem with counting with the sun and the moon and the stars, because they are constants. They are so constant that people before our lifetimes were marking the same places that we can see when we look at the sky. Those certain objects in the sky happen to go to the same places at certain times. So that's how we mark our cycles around the sun, which is a star. So if we were standing on a different body in the sky somewhere looking at the sun, it would be a star and it would be moving a certain way. What we count as a year is figurative only to this planet. There isn't another planet moving the same way that this planet is moving. Blah, blah, blah. So the current calendars that we use are marked by leadership and tax collections. The way that we mark time before all of that was by seasons, things that we did as we cycled around our nearest star. And while we did so, we learned in a practiced effort to give praises to the one that set everything into balance in order for us to see and witness these different changes in the seasons and notice that there were even differences within the breaks of the seasons. Some people argue, oh, okay, well, in the beginning, there was only winter and summer. There was only winter and summer. There would be no season for fertilization. Let's be blunt about it. If there was no fall, there would be no transition from the season of heat to the season of cooling, which is not only the time when the leaves fall off, it's also a time that we do pluck certain fruit from certain vegetation, things that we pluck in the summer, things that we pluck in the fall to put in the storehouse and be prepared for the winter. All four seasons have always existed. That's for us to differentiate because of the climate that's set on Earth. It's not that way on any other neighboring planet. And they can stretch all the telescopes they want until they step foot on it. They won't know about any other climate on any other planet either. We know about this one. That's what's relative to us in our life. That's what's real. That's a shared reality. So when they ask me what's my problem, I say, yeah, 336. Because there's 29 more days. Well, I found this chart that keeps a record of time, what they would call a month, what those spans would be, and it still does regulate for 12 months. Give me just a moment. I want to step over to TikTok and see if anything's shaking. Because today is Q&A day. Just want to let you all know something that's on my mind. And if you're curious, I'm pausing when I'm speaking because I'm watching the loading screen. And I don't know if it's actually telling you all that I'm broadcasting or if it's buffering. Uh, it's gotten quiet in the room again. It tells me there's been 36 people in the room so far. So we'll keep going. Shalom Barak to all who do stop in and join and visit. This is Q&A day. We're up at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I say, rubber side down. Shalom Barak to you. But yeah, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, daily except for Shabbat. Uh-oh, we just went and did too much. Back out of that. So as I was saying, there's a calendar prior to emperors and things like that. There's a group of people who practice a certain theology that's called Zoroastrianism. The closest calendar that we have that dates back to before imperialistic views comes from the Zoroastrian calendar. Now it's marked along the same periods as what is recognized as the Paleo Hebrew calendar and also the solar astro lunar calendar that's recognized in Tehran, Iran, or Iran. In the Persian language, the first month would either be known as Aries, or there's another name, and I can't quite pronounce it, so I'm not going to try and stumble over it. And the particular calendar that I'm talking about is called the Jalali calendar. It's not the Hajj calendar, the Hijra calendar, because there's an important question to ask. When Prophet Muhammad sallallahu wasallam was doing his yearly studies and his 30-day fasts, the period of time when he was doing that was not called Ramadan. He had a calendar that he used. Favardin, I think, is the name of the first month, according to the Persian calendar and also the Zoroastrian calendar. I bring it up because, yes, all of the periods of the months can have 28 days. And then, in order to add up to the extra 29 days, you would say one month has 2 extra days, that's 30 days. Another one would have 3 extra days, it's 31. Until you go through the full cycle, until you get to that last one where it has 28 days and you add one. That one would have 29. Subhanallah. What's up? Subhanallah. All praises to our Father, our Creator. So if you do that through the whole cycles, there's also another period of time in there that is actually called day, except for we would spell it Dey. So it would be a whole month. It's called day. Now, how do you count those periods of time? What do you do? Well, considering there's 12, you would have a main focus and a different principle of worshiping the one who created everything and set it all into balance. The main focus every day, no matter how you're counting it, is going to be worship towards the one who created everything and set it into balance. And then you find 12 different principles, and you would focus at least 30 to 31 days apiece on those 12 principles. Now, that first day of the month would be the new moon, and you would carry over until you get to the next new moon. And that first day and the carrying second and third day at the end of that cycle or that phase would be when you would have feasts, because you would be going through the whole phase with your focus and your intent from the beginning to the end. So you mark the beginning and the end of that, then you go into the next phase. That's what I learned from the Jalali calendar. And as of record, as of the current year that we're in, the Jalali calendar started the first of the year a week before the Paleo Hebrew calendar started. It's about the only discrepancy. I couldn't tell you the exact day and name of the week and so on and so forth. However, the charts are available. You can look it up. So when a person asks me, what's my problem? Most of the time, I would tell you 2 plus 2. However, there's a bigger problem, 336. What do you do with the extra 29? If you order your steps, get the right focus and aim, there's a certain amount of calendars and names that you wouldn't be using anymore. Because like I mentioned earlier, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was already taking a yearly hermitage in order for him to fast and study and worship. It even specifically states when he did it. You would witness the longest night of the year, and it would be in the ninth month of the year. That doesn't change. There's a way that people teach, and there's a way that it is remembered and followed. And then there's the way that people want to cherry pick things. I was involved in a dialogue with my brother earlier, and it's still a dialogue, even though it's having a conversation back and forth through recorded message on video. It's still a dialogue. And the discussion, I'll finish this thought, and then I'm going to check TikTok again, see what's going on in the comment section. Interested to know. Um, the discussion was about, what is the definition of Antichrist? What is the definition of walking the path and choices? And the main idea is we're supposed to be pointing our focus towards the choice of following the standards of the Creator, just like how I opened this up. And one of those choices is to let go of pre-programmed issues. It's written in the scriptures that the faces of our fathers will be changed to where we don't recognize what is the standard. My brother mentioned Methuselah's age, 999. Didn't quite make it to 1,000. Didn't quite make it to a day with Yahweh Elohim, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Count up the years that his name survived through his lineage, 999. That means that there were some people who were emulating what he was doing. And so they were saying, you walk like Methuselah. We're going to call you Methuselah, even though that wasn't him and his body. Same with Enoch, same with Abram, same with Yaqub, who became Israel, Yahashua. Same with Abraham, Ibrahim. Same with Adam. The names were carried on in the lineage, and the message and the story was carried on in the lineage. That's what kept the year spans. That's what kept things alive. With arguing over literature, what was written, and forgetting that if you speak the story the way that it was started in the first place, especially if you speak it in the linguistics of how it started, there's a certain resonance that goes along with that. People reciting verses does not give them merit. It doesn't give them anointing. Your Messiah is of a certain anointing, and you will be able to see it not only upon the one who everyone is aspiring and waiting for, it will be seen on those who are chosen as servants. Because yeah, you get called and then you choose to be a servant or not. So yeah, everybody's given the invitation. You're chosen once you accept. Then you become one of the chosen. There are people out there trying to put a dividing line between the family of Avra and those who would say they are Muslims. There's a dividing line between Muslims amongst themselves. There's a dividing line between Avra amongst themselves for holding on to traditions that have nothing to do with the actual standards. When all of that is said and done, that's when we can figure out how we're supposed to be moving the right way. I'm not one that's down for waiting for everybody else to get some sense. The new common phrase is kingdom sense because common sense is also layman sense. And a person who's deemed a layperson is a person who is basically asking for leadership, asking for someone to guide them around. That only goes so far. You can have someone who becomes an oppressor while they are guiding you around. Or you can have someone who can show you how you have leadership within self. Follow the guidance of one who's sharp in one area, however, use your own skills to the best of your ability. What's your problem? It's 336 days. That leaves about 29 Sabbath. Selah. Today is Q&A day. What's all of that got to do with entrepreneurship and service in your community? I'm going to turn on some music, see if there's anything going on in the comment section. Matter of fact, I'm going to see if I can share out and interact. Uh, might be able to do that even here in YouTube land. I see I do have a comment on this side before I jump over to TikTok. Let's see what's going on. Waiting for it to change screens on me. It's not. There we go. Makati. Now I see you. Right when I did, the phone decided it wanted to have a tantrum. Of course. Of course. You all bear with me. We're going to push this as far as it'll go because we are rocking and rolling. We're on a boat. Rolling because we were rocking and rolling before the electric. We were rocking and rolling before that boat that no one wants to talk about because we were already on boats. Traveling, visiting, and casting nets. So, yes, I'm going to turn on a few more instrumentals while I go and check and see what's happening in TikTok land. Let the screen negotiate what it wants to do. All right, so it did bring it there. Yeah. Okay, that's YouTube. Let's see what's happening on TikTok. Now, we played this one earlier. I did stop it, so I'd have to reset things. This is actually one of those beats that comes from a commercial. Somebody else's prior work, but I've used it myself. Bold Servant, Shalom Aparat, Ben, Assalamu alaikum, I see you. Hey, when we get done with this, you let me know how things are shaking on that other end. So yeah, today is Q&A. Rolling on Bondo and Prime, but never be a high side or anti-suspension switch dimensions. Can't remember the other part. Spinning wheels develop higher power, eardrums devour. Yeah, I have to play it a couple of times. Yeah, the aluminum on my chassis is more siding in the house. That ain't how it goes. There's more aluminum on the chassis than the siding on your house. 13 compartments for air pressure. Can you tell me what that's about? Yeah, I'd have to play that one back to actually get the lyrics. I don't want to butcher my own song. Yeah, but that's a beat that I used, recorded the song. Then my son made a beat, and I used his beat instead when I actually registered and licensed the song. So yeah, today is Q&A day. Normally we would be speaking from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time about entrepreneurship and service in your community. Today is Q&A day because we've run through the span of the 10 special interest groups. So we're having Q&A to discuss any questions concerning organic marketing strategies, whether it be something you picked up from one of those groups or something from your own group, whatever it is you have in mind. What is your mission? And how far along have you gotten on your mission? I see some words here. What you talking about? Yeah, this guy. So yeah, today's party is called What's Your Problem? I went on a little bit earlier about the number 336 because that leaves 29 in order to get to 365. So my problem is 336. Lisa H, Shalom Barak to you. Feels great, my people. It feels great. I was going through some difficulties and I wasn't able to do the multi-channel broadcast. You don't know what this means to me. Bold Servant, just so you know, you can always go back and check the links. They'll be live. The live links will be on YouTube at Angelic Discipline. It's a review. So everything that we discuss, it'll be there, except for the days that I've missed. That's why I was a little downtrodden about it. You know, we want the simultaneous cast because what's happening on TikTok, it only holds for about 30 days. After that, it's gone. The links on YouTube are permanent. Let's see who here. Leslie Tafoya, Shalom Barak to you. All right, I'm gonna jump back over here to the YouTube side. Once again, today's party is What's Your Problem? If 336 is the number, what are we gonna do with 29? Let's see if I can do any sharing out from over here. Doesn't tell me that I can. I can see the analytics, but no, I can't share it out from this side. So do me a favor. Share it out from your side. Anyone that you know that's interested in entrepreneurship or just wants to shoot the breeze, today the floor is open. Let's see here. We got some comments going on in YouTube world though. As soon as I opened up things, it shut it down. Go figure. I saw the new comments, but then when I tried to get to the screen, there we go. Some shalams and all that Tabas stuff. Right on. Right on. So let's see here. It says that we've been going for about 41 minutes. You ever have Tabas sleep? It's a treasure. One of the things that had me going today with my brain was waking up at midnight, opening up the device, and seeing a video concerning one guy who was saying he's the Antichrist, and another person who was critiquing on it. Now, the thought that crossed my mind, see, I couldn't unpack everything right then and there because I wasn't about to go live, number one, at midnight. And I wasn't able to start speaking on everything because there's more to say than you could possibly say with the 10 minutes allowed with a video recording that you can upload to the platform. So I decided, okay, I'll wait. That's why the first part of this is 336, because people are coming with questions. What is real? What should we count? And no pun intended there. What is real? One of the first times I sat down and puzzled about the word, I had to do that. Is real. So when we ask the question of how many days, we should also ask the question of what are we supposed to be really focusing on? Because there's going to be a whole lot of misdirection. And it's not that, oh, it's the end of days and there's misdirection. There's been misdirection the whole time. It's not about looking for one person. It's supposed to be this big dark figure that's supposed to let everybody know, okay, we got another 1,000 days because we see this one person now and they're there. No. Some people are running afraid of the number 666. Who knows about Nero? Who knows that Nero already existed? Who knows about Caligastia or Caligula? Because they already existed. You can say 606 score and six, or however you want to put it. If you actually know the characters and you know the story and the context, Nero already existed. This isn't about pointing blame and fingers at current names of nations, because those nations did not exist at the time that those scrolls were written. Not only the fact that a lot of the story and lineage was survived through people speaking with each other and having conversations. One main story survived because they weren't debating about it. It was a shared agreement. This is our origins. And we stuck to these rules, and that's how we kept our origins and kept ourselves and kept our faces. In the scrolls, it says that the youth will forget their father's faces because they will be changed. A blight will be placed upon the land because of the disobedience. And we're seeing it today. We have people trying to tell us how to run according to customs and culture, and these people don't even practice the same customs and cultures that they want to run and tell people to go forth and do. And you will never know unless you go and read and study for yourself. My question is, do you have a problem? Let's find an answer. By the way, this is a test. We ran a test earlier and we got 2 copyright notifications. Apparently, the 2 songs I decided to play will not be able to be played in 2 regions on the globe. However, the broadcast will spread. So we can check the commentary on 2 different channels while simultaneously broadcasting and get our point across. I don't want you to just get used to seeing me and hearing what I have to say. I want you to put yourself in the situation. What would you do? Who would you like to hear from? What topics would you like to speak on? Because this goes beyond past casting 2 nets, 2 pair of nets. I'm looking at a larger network. 10 nets to make 1 network. What does your hub look like? If your hub starts with your web page, how many nets do you have casted out? That's building your own network. That's why I use the hashtag field of streams. Stream in a lot of different places at one time instead of focusing in one spot. Question: who knows how to navigate Web 3? Who knows what Web 3 is compared to Web 2? If you all don't ask me questions, then I'll ask you questions. So who's tech savvy out there? Who can tell me the difference between Web 3 and Web 2? I'll step over to the TikTok board and see if there's any comments going on over there. I'll be right back. Interesting. So now it's not showing me the TikTok board anymore, even though it's supposed to be on the TikTok tab. It's showing me the YouTube screen. Check something real quick. Going almost an hour strong. There hasn't been a whole lot of checking in and questions, so I'm just going short today. It just depends. I heard a message outside the room. One of the other brothers was checking in on the phone line. Told me to, through the walls, basically told me to call him back and see what he's up to. There's a few phone calls I need to make today as well. So, that's right. We got a stall out session.